Hey, what's up YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. Today we have a Pendulum Magician Zark deck profile. This is not the most competitive version of Pendulums, but it's the most fun one in my opinion. If you guys would like to see more deck profiles like this, please subscribe and like the video. If you have any suggestions or anything you guys would like to see on the channel or change about my deck, you can tell me down in the comments, and let's get started. First I play Triple Harmonizing Magician. This is one of the most important cards in the deck. You want to see this every single hand. This helps you go into your rank 4s and it helps you bring out materials for your Zark. Next I play Triple Wisdom Eye Magician. The only effect that's important on this card is its Pendulum effect. If you have a Magician monster in your other scale, you can activate this and destroy it, and then activate a Magician monster from your deck in your scale. This card is very good for consistency and grabbing the scales you need, but the most important card this card grabs is Triple Oath Dragon Magician. This is the low scale of the deck. When you have a Magician monster in your other scale, you can activate this and then add a Magician monster from your face-up extra deck to your hand. This card is really good for getting back Harmonizing Magician for follow-up. Its monster effect also comes up sometimes. When it's normal or special summoned, you can add a Magician monster from your graveyard back to your hand. It's also a level 6, so you can make Dawn Draxir with your Tuning Magician. Next, for the Zark materials, I play Triple Double Iris Magician. This card is very important in the deck. It searches your Pendulum graphs when it's destroyed. When this card's in your scale, you can target a Dark Spellcaster monster you control and it deals double damage this turn, and then you destroy this. And when it's destroyed, you can then search a Pendulum graph. This is one of the materials for Zark. This card is always treated as a Pendulum Dragon card. Next, Double Purple Poison Magician. This is also material for Zark because it's always treated as a Fusion Dragon. This card is really good, it's a low scale. When it's destroyed, you can also destroy a face-up card on the field. This card can help you out on anti-spell if your opponent has it. You can just normal summon this, crash into their monster, and then this card gets destroyed and it pops the anti-spell. Next, Double Black Fang Magician. This card is another high scale. When this one is destroyed, you can special summon a Dark Spellcaster type monster from your graveyard. And when it's in the scale, you can target the monster your opponent controls and half its attack, then destroy this card. And then the second effect triggers and you can revive a Dark Spellcaster type monster. This is the third material for Zark because it says it's always treated as an Xyz Dragon card. And the last Zark material is White Wing Magician. This card's honestly really bad. It pretty much just does nothing. It's a tuner, I guess, but you only need to play this because you play Zark. This card is always treated as a Synchro Dragon card, so this is the last material for Zark. So basically the main goal of this deck is to get all 4 of these cards on your field or in your graveyard over the course of your first 2 or 3 turns, and then you can summon Zark with Chronograph Sorcerer. This card says if you have all 4 of these in the graveyard or on your field, you can activate this and banish it. Banish all 4 of these, and then you can special summon Zark from your extra deck. I also play one Time Gazer Magician, so you can use Chronograph Sorcerer as an extender to make Link monsters before your Pendulum summon. The last Magician monster in the deck is one Performapal Celestial Magician. This card usually searches Joker in the end phase for your follow-up, and it's also a Performapal monster, so it's another target for your Performapal Pendulum Sorcerer. Next, Triple Performapal Pendulum Sorcerer. This is one of the best cards in the deck. It helps you pop your magicians to get their effects off and also searches your Performapal monsters. Next, Double Joker. This card searches your entire deck. It's really good. I really hope this comes back to 3 in the next ban list. Then one Performapal Second Donkey. If both of your Pendulum scales are full, when you normal summon this, you can add the Performapal monster from your deck to your hand. I just played this so I have another Performapal name in the deck, because sometimes in the late game you need to use Pendulum Sorcerer and you run out of targets. And the last monster in the deck is Triple Tuning Magician. This card is really good to summon off Hulk of Ibrax, so you can make Apollousa before your Pendulum summon. If you don't know what it does, if this card is in your hand or graveyard and both of your scales are Magician monsters, you can special summon this card and then you take 400 damage and your opponent gains 400 life. That's it for the monsters. For the spells, I play Triple Desires. This is just really good for consistency. You might think Desires isn't good in this variant because you need all 4 of these cards in your deck specifically to summon Zark. But Zark is not necessary to summon to win. And also if you banish your one of White Wing Magician, for example, you can just make Omega and then put it back in your graveyard, and the extra card in your hand helps a lot going first and second because Pendulum needs 2 cards in the scale to function, so getting more cards is really good. Then I play one Allure of Darkness. This is the 40th card in the deck. I just didn't find space, so I only play one. Next, Double Duelist Alliance. This card searches your Pendulum graphs. It searches your Double Iris Magician because it's treated as a Pendulum Dragon, and it also searches your Performapal Pendulum Sorcerer, but you never want to see multiples, especially with all the draw power you play. And for the Pendulum graphs, I play one Star Pendulum graph and Double Time Pendulum graphs. This is a continuous spell that says, once per turn when your magician monster leaves the field, you can add a Pendulum magician monster from your deck to your hand. And this card is really good. Once per turn during either player's turn, you can destroy one Pendulum magician card you control and one card they control. And if one of those cards isn't destroyed, you can send another card they control to the graveyard. There's a really cool interaction with this and Time Star Magician. I'm going to show you that later. That's it for the main deck. If you want to, you can play Pendulum Call, but I really don't like that card in this deck because this version is very reliant on destroying your scales. And if you want to, you can also play this engine, but I don't like this engine much because this card is really hard to play around hand traps with. It's also really awkward in your scale because it's a scale 5 and not a magician. For the extra deck, you play the one boss monster, your Zark. This card needs a Pendulum Dragon, Fusion Dragon, Synchro Dragon and Xyz Dragon for material, which are your 4 magicians. When it's summoned, it destroys all cards your opponent controls. It can't be targeted or destroyed by card effects. If this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can special summon a Supreme King monster from your extra deck, which almost never happens, but you can summon this if you need free link material. And then if this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can put it in your scale. And then it's just a really broken floodgate because Fusion, Synchro and Xyz monsters your opponent controls can't activate their effects. And when they add a card from the deck to the hand, you can destroy it. Sometimes it's actually correct to pop your Zark with your purple poison magician and then you can put it in the scale and lock them out. When you have Zark on the field, if you can't end the game in that turn, it's usually smart to leave a scale open, so if they destroy it, then it goes to the scale. You usually can't summon this on the first turn, but this deck kind of has the inevitability threat that you're going to summon this on the second or third turn usually, and some decks just can't out this card. For the Synchro monsters, I play one Omega. This card is really good to put back your banished cards. It's also just a good generic Synchro. One Savage Dragon. This is just a negate, really good. And then one Supreme King Clearing. These cards are Ikeki. It's really good going second to break boards. The last Synchro is one Dawn Dragster. This card is just good to make with your Tuning Magician and one of your level 6 magicians, which are your Oath Dragon and Chronograph Sorcerer. It can negate spells or traps. Then double Time Star. The second one comes up a lot in the grind game. Once per turn you can detach an Xyz material from this card and search a Dark Spellcaster type monster from your deck. This card is really good for searching Chronograph Sorcerer if you don't have it already, because you can search this any other way. Or you can just search your missing pieces that you need to make your Zark. There is also a really nice interaction with these two cards. You have a scale, this on the field and this. You can, during the opponent's turn, you can activate this, try to destroy your magician and one card they control. And then this is gonna go to resolve. Their card's gonna get destroyed. And then this card says, when a Pendulum Magician monster you control would be destroyed, you can send the Magician monster from your deck to the graveyard instead. So their card gets destroyed and you protect your Magician monster by sending one of your pieces to the graveyard. And this card says, if one of those cards isn't destroyed, you can send another card they control to the graveyard. So then you send another card, which basically got you one of your pieces in the graveyard and destroyed 2 cards for free. Then I play one Tornado Dragon. This is just a really good rank 4 because sometimes you need to pop your own spell. It's also good against back row decks. You probably noticed that I don't play Scythe in this deck. That's because I really don't like bricks in the deck. Every single card right now is just really good to draw. I didn't really want to play Scythe because I just don't think it's fun. Next one, Abyss Dweller. This card's just really good against graveyard decks. Then one Supreme King Dark Rebellion. When this card attacks, you can detach both Xyz materials from this card. And then it steals all the attack from the opponent's monster. When you summon this, you usually go for game because that's so much damage. This is basically your Boral Sword of the deck, so you don't really need to play Boral Sword. For the links, I play one Masquerena. You need a generic link too that you can make before your Pendulum summon if you don't have tuners to make Hulk Fibrax. Then I play one Unicorn, which is good generic card, and you can also make it with Masquerena during the opponent's turn for an interruption. Then one Hulk Fibrax. This card is really good to summon your Tuning Magician from the deck, and then you go into Selene. Then Selene revives your Tuning Magician, and then you go into Apollousa. This engine is really expensive and sadly it makes this deck not budget, but I think it's pretty much necessary. It's just so good to protect your board from hand traps and also open up 3 zones for your Pendulum summon from the extra deck. If you really want to make this deck more budget, you can play it without these, but I just think these cards make the deck way better. I hope you have fun trying this list out. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, have a great day and goodbye.